guys, welcome to Fools with Tools. I'm Tori, I'll be your fool for today.
I'm Zach, and I'll be the tool.
Welcome to part 2 of a 2-part series on derailleur tuning. Last episode, we covered limit screws, B tension, and cable tension. What's for today?
Today, we're going to be going over hanger alignment and some various troubleshooting techniques that you can be going through on your drivetrain.
Sounds good, let's get to it. So Zach, we have the bike in the stand now. How do we know if we have a bent derailleur hanger?
A bent derailleur hanger can show itself in a variety of ways. Most often is you're going to be seeing a lot of inconsistency in the shifting. So you may have good shifting down here, bad shifting up here, possibly vice versa, or a lot of ghost shifting between the gears where you're sitting in one gear and it keeps wanting to drop down to the next one or go up. Usually those two things are the most common ones you'll see with a bent derailleur hanger. When your derailleur hanger is bent, you do have two options when going to fix the problem. The easiest one is you could just replace the derailleur hanger with a new one purchased out at a bike shop from companies.
Nah.
Not going to be doing that today. Today we're going to be trying to repair the current one on there, so we're going to be using a hanger alignment gauge to attempt to straighten this hanger. One important thing to note is that over straightening the hanger can fatigue the metal of that hanger, which can cause it to bend easier and possibly snap on you the next time that it either bends or you're trying to straighten it. To start this, we can go ahead and turn on the cage lock on our SRAM derailleur. That's going to make it a lot easier for us to take the chain off the chainring. On a Shimano derailleur, you can go ahead and turn the clutch off. That way we can make it easier to take the chain off the chainring. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and unbolt our derailleur from our bent hanger. Now that the derailleur is off and out of the way, we can go ahead and install our hanger alignment gauge. Now that we got our hanger alignment gauge on, we can go ahead and set our depth from the reference point, which we're going to be using at the valve. Always measure that at 12 o'clock first. Now that we got our depth gauge set already, we can go ahead and rotate the wheel so the valve's at the 6 o'clock position down at the bottom, and go ahead and check our depth.
Oh, she's moving.
All right, so you can see how the depth is not equal on the top and bottom. It's sitting clearly right at the valve, where before it's right at the rim edge.
Yep. And it should be at the rim edge, correct?
Yeah, you're always going to be measuring from the rim edge. That's going to be your reference point at the valve. Cool. So we can see this hanger is clearly bent in at the bottom. Sometimes they're going to be bent in at the top, left, right. It kind of depends. In this case, we're going to be pulling the hanger out from the bottom in order to get it straight. When you're doing that, you always want to make sure you're only bending half the distance because the other half's happening at the top. So you're only going to be bending half the distance that you can see on there. Make sure when you're making those adjustments, you're trying to make them as small as possible to avoid over weakening the hanger. Some hangers can be a lot more resistant to movement, so we are going to have to put in a little bit more effort.
I pulled it out some more. Should I check it?
Yeah, I would say check it.
Is this going to be a constant process of checking?
Yep, it's a process of going back and forth and checking your alignment at the top and then doing the bending from where you can see it's not straight.
Ooh, we've made progress. All right, let's go back up to the top. Okay. Was that it? Was that the one? Let's find out.
Let's go ahead and check the top.
I think I did it.
Awesome. We're at the rim edge.
Edge.
At 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock.
Rim edge.
All right, there we go. So some of the other main problems we could be having other than an out of tune rear derailleur could be relating to the actual parts on the bike themselves. What we see commonly is worn out drivetrains. So whether that's your chainring, your chain, or your cassette being overly worn, those can definitely give you a lot of issues. Another common mistake that people make is when they do have a worn out drivetrain is replacing the chain and not looking and inspecting the other components on it, like the cassette and the chainring. If these two pieces are extremely worn and you install a brand new chain, that can give you some really bad shifting because the two are not meshing well together. Because everything was so worn evenly, now they're worn unevenly. You have a brand new part on these old worn out parts. That's not going to work well together. Other common issues could be an older cable and housing, possibly with a pinch in it somewhere, or just a lot of gunk and friction buildup inside the lines. That can give you a lot of poor shifting in it. And one of the other pieces is going to be loose parts in the back, whether that's a loose cassette, a loose axle, or a loose derailleur. Those can all contribute to bad shifting.
We don't want that. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Fools with Tools and for joining us for our two-part series on derailleur tuning. Now, if you've tried everything that we have suggested and stuff is just not working out for you, consult your local bike shop. Please, like, we're not.
We can only do so much.
He's a professional.
They say.
Ish.
You're right.
But if you want written out instructions and like pictures and everything instead of, check that out on our blog, which will be linked below at thepathbikeshop.com. And I guess for this week, I was your fool.
I was your tool.
See you next time. Jake, please.